Most people walk past a penny without a second thought. It rattles in a cup holder, it disappears into a couch cushion, it gets handed back at the gas station like it's nothing. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, a plain-looking, no-mint Lincoln cent from 1971 has sparked stories of life-changing money, whispered terrors, and headline-grabbing sales that reach into the hundreds of thousands of dollars a broken bar and beyond? Not a gold coin, not an ancient relic, a brown penny from 1971. And here's the part that stops people cold. This isn't about a coin locked away in a museum or buried in a billionaire's vault. These coins were made by the hundreds of millions. They were spent, lost, ignored. Some of them are still out there right now in old jars, inherited collections, and forgotten drawers, hiding secrets most people never bothered to look for. What if one of them is yours? This is the story of the 1971 no-mint Lincoln cent, a coin so ordinary on the surface that it became an invisibly broken bar and so dangerous underneath that collectors still hunt it with flashlights and magnifiers, chasing errors that can turn pocket change into a financial earthquake. The year was 1971. America was changing. The Vietnam War raged on. Inflation was creeping into everyday life. And inside the Philadelphia Mint, machines thundered day and night, striking Lincoln cents by the millions. Unlike Denver or San Francisco, Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark back then, so these pennies came out clean and no letter beneath the date. Just 1971. To the untrained eye, that missing mint mark means nothing. To a trained collector, it's the beginning of a mystery. Because when production runs reach massive levels, mistakes don't just happen, they multiply, dies crack, impressions shift, metal flows where it shouldn't, and sometimes, something slips through that was never supposed to exist. Here's where the story takes its first turn. Collectors began noticing that certain 1971 no-mint cents look at a broken bar wrong. Letters that seemed thicker than normal, doubling where there should be none. Lincoln's profile showing subtle distortions that didn't match standard strikes. At first, these coins were dismissed. People told themselves it was wear, or damage, or imagination. But then magnification told a different story. Through doubled dies, mechanical anomalies, die deterioration so extreme it reshaped the design itself. And once collectors realized what they were seeing, the hunt was on. Because in the coin world, a single word changes everything. Error. Errors aren't flaws. They're fingerprints of chaos, a proof that something unique happened for a fraction of a second inside a government mint. And uniqueness is where value explodes. Ask yourself this: how many people would ever think to check a 1971 penny under a loupe? Almost no one. That's why the next revelation hit like a thunderclap. High-grade examples of rare Lincoln cent terrors, including those from the late 60s and early 70s, began posting eye-watering auction results, 6 figures, then more. Reported market sales across elite error cents surged, with some headlines setting prices as high as $844,000 for top-condition examples tied to legendary Lincoln cent varieties. Let that number sink in. $844,000 for 1 cent. Now here's the twist most people never hear. When these stories hit the news, readers assumed the coin must be impossibly rare, something only 1 or 2 people on Earth could ever own. But the truth is more unsettling. Some of the most valuable era coins weren't discovered right away. They were found years later, decades later, pulled from circulation by someone who simply looked closer than everyone else. And that's where the 1971 no-mint cent refuses to fade into history. Because while not every 1971 penny is valuable, certain error combinations, especially dramatic doubled dies, misaligned strikes, and severe die anomalies, can catapult an otherwise common coin into a completely different financial universe. And the market doesn't just reward rarity, it rewards condition. This is where suspense tightens. Imagine 2 identical coins struck from the same flawed die. One gets spent into oblivion, the other sits untouched in a roll, in a drawer, in a forgotten box. Fast forward 50 years, one is worth face value, the other, preserved in near-perfect condition. becomes the one collectors fight over. This is how values stretch from dollars a broken bar to thousands a broken bar to six-figures a broken bar, and in extreme cases, into the realm of seven figures when hype, rarity, and pristine condition collide. And yes, some experts openly speculate that undiscovered, ultra-high-grade error cents could one day break the $1 million barrier if the right coin appears at the right time. Speculate, that's the word that makes hearts race, because speculation isn't fantasy, it's possibility. Think about it. How many 1971 pennies were pulled aside and never spent again? How many were tucked away by parents or grandparents who thought, maybe this will be worth something someday? And how many of those coins have never been checked for errors? Here's another jolt of reality. Many people believe rarity is obvious, that valuable coins must look strange or damaged. But the most dangerous coins are the ones that look normal at first glance. The doubling that only reveals itself under magnification, the tiny separation in letters, the thickness in liberty, the date that doesn't quite line up the way it should. Miss it, and you miss the fortune. This is why seasoned collectors say the same thing over and over. The money is in the details, and the details on the 1971 no mint mark cent can be shocking. Die cracks that look like lightning scars across Lincoln's face, ghosted images where design elements echo themselves, strike anomalies that create depth and texture no normal coin should have. Each one tells a story of pressure, metal, and mechanical failure, a story the market is willing to pay obscene amounts to own, and the market appetite is real. Auction houses thrive on these moments. Two bidders, one coin, both convinced this is their once-in-a-lifetime chance. Prices climb, logic disappears, records fall, and when the hammer drops, someone walks away knowing a penny just rewrote their financial future. Now pause for a moment. What would you do if you found out a coin you already own could pay off your mortgage, fund your retirement, change your family's trajectory forever? Most people never ask that question because they assume it could never happen to them. That assumption is exactly why it sometimes does. The final act of this story isn't about history, it's about choice. You can keep ignoring pennies, let them pile up, let them vanish into change trays and donation jars, or you can slow down, look closer, learn what most people never bother to learn, because the 1971 no mint mark Lincoln cent isn't screaming for attention, it's whispering, and whispers are easy to miss. Somewhere out there, a coin struck more than 50 years ago is waiting for the right pair of eyes. It doesn't know it could be worth thousands, or hundreds of thousands, or that it might one day be mentioned in the same breath as the most valuable Lincoln cents ever sold. It just sits, silent, ordinary, until someone picks it up a broken bar and realizes everything they thought they knew about a penny was wrong. So the next time you see a 1971 cent without a mint mark, don't dismiss it, don't assume, don't rush past it, because history has a way of hiding fortunes in the smallest places, and sometimes, the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery is a single second of attention. One coin, one look, one moment that could change everything. Imagine reaching into a jar of loose change, a broken bar, and realizing the penny between your fingers might be worth more than your house. Not someday, not in theory, right now. A single Lincoln cent is small, brown, ordinary at first glance, linked to reported sales that have stunned collectors, with whispers of prices soaring into the hundreds of thousands, a broken bar even brushing the edges of seven figures. This isn't a fantasy coin locked away in a museum. This is a 1968 Lincoln cent with an S mint mark, and it may be closer to you than you think, because here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Life-changing coins don't always announce themselves. They hide in plain sight, they blend in, they wait, and the 1968 Lincoln cent has been doing exactly that for over half a century. In 1968, America was on edge. The Vietnam War dominated headlines, protests filled the streets, trust in institutions was cracking, and deep inside the San Francisco Mint, something far quieter but potentially far more valuably was happening. The mint had only recently resumed using mint marks after a 3-year pause meant to discourage coin hoarding. San Francisco, newly designated as a proof-only facility, was under pressure to produce flawless coins for collectors. Flawless, a broken bar or so everyone thought, because when systems are pushed, mistakes don't disappear, they multiply. The 1968's Lincoln cent was struck in enormous numbers, especially as proof coins. On the surface, that should make it common, boring, worth $1 at best, but history has a habit of turning expectations upside down. Hidden among those polished proof strikes and even among circulation issues are anomalies, tiny deviations so subtle they escape detection for years. And that's where the story takes a turn. What if a coin everyone ignored, a broken bar, wasn't ordinary at all? Collectors eventually began noticing strange details. Letters that seemed thicker than they should be. Doubling that wasn't supposed to exist. Mint marks that didn't look quite right. Surfaces that told a different story under magnification. At first, these were dismissed as tricks of light, wishful thinking, or damage. But then more examples appeared. And then more. Suddenly, the questions grew louder. How does a mint known for proof quality let dramatic errors slip through? How many were released before anyone noticed? And how many are still out there, broken bar unnoticed? The most electrifying examples involve dramatic double die errors created when the coin's design is impressed more than once at slightly different angles. On a genuine double die, the doubling isn't damage, it's baked into the coin itself. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. On some 1968's cents, the doubling can be seen in Lincoln's lettering, in the date, and in the motto. Not weak, not questionable, bold, commanding, undeniable. That's the kind of error collectors fight over. Then there are the deep cameo proof strike coins with jet black mirrored fields and frosted devices so sharp they look sculpted. Most proofs lose that contrast over time. A true deep cameo from 1968, perfectly preserved, is already rare. Add an error, now you've crossed into a different universe. This is where the numbers stop making sense. High grade, error-free proof 1968's cents can sell for hundreds. Error examples push into the thousands. The finest known specimens graded as the very top of the scale have been associated with auction results that stop rooms cold. 6 figures, 7 figures whispered in collector circles, and a reported top condition sale cited as high as $844,000, a number that forces even seasoned professionals to pause and ask one question. What else is hiding out there? Because markets don't pay that kind of money for stories. They pay for rarity, condition, and undeniable authenticity. When a coin checks all 3 boxes, logic leaves the room. And here's the twist that keeps this coin haunting collectors. Unlike legendary rarities that were recognized almost immediately, the 1968's slipped under the radar. For years, decades, many were spent, mishandled, tossed into drawers, forgotten. Even today, thousands sit in old proof sets cracked open by heirs who never knew what to look for. Which raises a dangerous possibility. If even one undiscovered example survives in pristine condition, a broken bar, its value could rewrite someone's life overnight. Think about that. A coin struck during a year of national turmoil, a broken bar quietly waiting for someone curious enough to question it. But the danger isn't missing the coin. The danger is assuming you'd recognize it if you saw it. Because the most valuable examples don't scream, they whisper. The mint mark must be examined closely. The lettering needs magnification. The surfaces demand light at just the right angle. One wrong assumption and a 6-figure coin becomes pocket change again. And that's why so many fortunes are lost before they're ever found. There's an urgency here that can't be ignored. As time passes, untouched examples vanish. They get cleaned, scratched, mishandled. Every year narrows the field. Every year increases the pressure on the remaining survivors. This isn't about luck. It's about awareness. Collectors who understood the potential of late 1960s San Francisco issues years ago positioned themselves early. They searched methodically. They learned diagnostics. And when the market finally caught on, they were already holding the keys. Everyone else, they're still hoping. And hope, in this game, is expensive. The 1968's Lincoln cent stands at a crossroads between history and opportunity. It's old enough to be overlooked, young enough to still exist in quantity, and mysterious enough to keep rewriting what we think we know about modern coinage. It challenges a dangerous assumption that valuable coins are always obvious. They're not. Sometimes, the most powerful opportunities weigh just 3.11 grams. So the next time you see a brown cent with Lincoln's profile staring back at you, ask yourself one simple question. What if this isn't just a penny? What if it's a survivor from a moment in time when mistakes slipped through perfection, a broken bar, and became legends? Because somewhere, right now, someone is holding a coin they don't realize could change everything. And the only difference between them and the next headline say broken bar. A broken bar is knowing where to look. Check your coins. Examine them closely. Question the ordinary. History doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it waits for you to notice.